Good afternoon, everybody. It is good to be here on a Tuesday afternoon. We've got something great and something amazing that we're just going to share with every one of you. We got a great talk. Last week, we had a fantastic time with Bishop Anton Jackson from St. Louis. And today, we're just going to take it to another level. We're going to do something in the world of business. One of the main goals of our church as shapers, one of the things God put on our heart is how to build productive believers. Because the thing is, after you give your life to Christ, after you get saved, after you dedicate your life to the Lord, what's next? Are we just waiting for heaven? Are we just waiting for Jesus to come take us? And what I strongly believe is that in between that point of salvation and that point of going to heaven, we have to fulfill Genesis 1:28 when it says, "Be fruitful, multiply, replenish, have dominion." And it is that Genesis mandate that each and every one of us have to fulfill. We have to be productive. So I got a special guest today. His name is Winston Nolan. He's ministered at our church a couple of times, and I wanted him to come this year before the Rona hit. But we've got him today online, and I'm just going to bring him to the front here and ask him just to greet every one of you. So, Winston.
Hey, Pastor Is, thanks so much for the opportunity. How's everybody doing? I hope everyone is at home watching this and you're not out there in these streets like some crazy people that we've been seeing breaking the rules, breaking the lockdown regulations.
So, Winston, first and foremost, thank you for joining us this afternoon. The
Awesome.
first thing I
Thanks
just
for
want to
having me.
is how is the lockdown going for you? I think we're now, I'm saying we're in season three. We started off with season one. I think it was the 21
Yeah.
day. Then came the extension in level five. And
Uh-huh.
then came, now we're in season three, 11.4. Just
Right.
walk us through your experiences with the seasons and where you are in season three.
Yeah. You know what? You know what I've realized is different people have taken the lockdown differently. Just according to where they are, according to their frame of mind, according to where they are in their lives. I mean, there's some folks that were like, oh, okay, no, fantastic opportunity. They went off and finished a book. Some guys have been on Udemy every day and learning new stuff every single day. Some people have been depressed, man, and doing absolutely nothing and just binge watching series and movies and stuff, and in our crib, with all the characters, you see all the different personalities
Yeah.
as to how people have been affected and how people are navigating the lockdown. Um, so yeah, it's been very interesting. Me myself, I've been flat out working. I've been flat out. I've had so many projects, so many things that were just hanging because I just didn't have the time to do it. So I was taking the time to just perfect of one or two products, touch on the books, touch on the programs, refine the business, do some introspection, and also just taking some quiet time. Yeah, yourself.
No, for me, it's been an interesting journey.
Hmm.
Season one, I was excited. I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
Season
yeah,
two, I hit a bit of a wall. I was like, oh, because
yeah.
my expectation was season one, we're in, we're out. Then in season two, there was that extension, that my fellow citizen speech by the president. I was like, hallelujah. And then
My
now we're in
fellow
season
citizens. Yeah, yeah.
three. And now in season three,
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, let's just do this. Let's just go through this. But there's definitely, just based on my travels inside to like the most exciting experience going to the grocery store. There's definitely a shift. There's been a shift in the city. Everybody, is wearing masks. I'm still getting used to that culture. Everywhere there's masks,
Yeah,
the sanitizer. It's like we're in a Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero Origins film.
no, 100%, 100%, man. It's like, I think the term for it, for the filmmakers is it's like a dystopian future has actually occurred. And hey, no one could have prepared. No one could have been mentally or emotionally prepared for especially lockdown. The virus is something else. I don't think in South Africa our biggest fear is actually sickness. Unlike maybe Europe and the US, I think probably the biggest anxiety that people are experiencing is more economic. It's more like the livelihood, the economy. The economy was already sort of spluttering, pre-COVID. And I mean, for example, SAA was just limping along, and
Yeah.
and lockdown sort of accelerated a few nails in a few coffins, And I think that's where that's where the greatest anxiety really is.
No, I totally agree. In terms of the economic concern is the major concern,
Yeah,
and just looking at South Africa, coming into this, we got into a technical recession,
yeah.
and we also got
Moody's
into
downgrade.
Moody's downgrade, and so it's just very interesting. So, in terms of this pandemic, what are you seeing in terms of life after this pandemic, in terms of the business world? Where do you see the opportunities? First of all, okay,
Yeah,
first of all, which industries do you see not surviving this?
yeah, yeah. Well, listen, any industry that was a high touch, high contact sort of industry needs to needs to be realistic that there's going to be serious long-term impact. Um, in one of our training courses, which we've consequently taken online, just because of COVID, the first module in there is now COVIDnomics, whereby because it's on everybody's minds, it's on everybody's hearts. We can't ignore it. It's how businesses and organizations have reacted to and have been impacted by uh, the virus. And 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 in COVIDnomics, the first thing that we're taking people through is the 5 stages of COVID, because it's hit all of us in stages. So
Please,
so just like the
please, I'd love to hear that.
all right, man. I'm gonna freestyle, right? So the first stage is shock. Okay, it's shock. It's denial. It's okay. This is happening. Where are we now? The president was just on TV. He's given us 3 days notice that the economy will be shut down. What does that mean for me? What does that mean for my business? How long will this happen? How much cash reserves do I have? How long can I go sustaining my lifestyle without income? So the first stage is shock, and I think everyone was there. The second stage of the 5 stages of COVID under COVIDnomics would be contraction. Okay, so the next stage after you make it through the initial shock,
Hey,
then you're gonna contract. You're gonna pull back on your spending. Everyone pull back on their plans. I mean, we all had holidays booked, and we all had plans for the year, and all that went into contraction. Okay, at the base of contraction is stage three, which was the wait and see stage, because this is unprecedented, man. We've got no textbook for this. Okay, this is before Philip Kotler. All right, we can't go on John Maxwell's website and and look for a leadership treatise of how
How-
to navigate this thing. So then people went into a wait and see, and a lot of businesses are either still in a wait and see, or they're starting to come out of the wait and see. So going back to your question, and remind me, I'm on stage three of the five stages, is immediately guys that are in non-essential retail. So so I'll give you an example. Um, Non-essential retail will be like, the guys that are selling cars, the guys that are selling luxury goods. You know, I can't foresee people rushing to the Diamond Walk right now to get the latest Louis Vuitton. I can't foresee that. People sort of just flocked into malls when lockdown was eased, just to pick up a couple of sweaters and some winter gear because lockdown caught us in the cold. So in that wait and see stage is where a lot of organizations are. And then you've got like real estate agents. I mean, a real estate agents cannot show a home. No one is going to buy a house without seeing it. Okay, that's a multi-million rand commitment. Okay, you could give me a virtual tour, but unless I get into that house, I'm not going to purchase it. Then of course, you've got the other frontline retailers like your hair salons, your restaurants. Those guys have had it tough. Those guys have had it tough. And then, which takes me back to the five stages. So stage four is the critical stage. It's where businesses and business leaders actually adjust to where we are, and if they can, adjust their business models, adjust their business system, and if they can adapt and adjust from stage four, they will either go on an upward trajectory in their business. If they fail to adapt and adjust, then they will end up on a downward spiral towards the death of that business. So stage five is a duality. So you've got two options in stage five. In stage five, it's either resurgence, where the mindset goes back to an expansion mindset. The demand for the business is there, the demand for the business model that you have, because taking two steps back, not every business model is going to survive. That's just a fact. And also the behavior of people is changing drastically.
Right.
So so whether your business has a model that can transition to stage five or not, is going to be critical, because in stage five there's two options. It's either the resurgence and resuscitation will happen, or there will be the absolute collapse and the death of the business. So unfortunately, in these unprecedented times, and hey, it's not an absolute science, but this is just a model that we're working some of our clients through to just help them understand where they are, especially from a leadership perspective, because you need to know where you are within those stages. Are
Yes.
you in the shock? Are you in contraction? Are you in wait and see? um, have you managed to adapt and adjust? If you have, then certainly your business will survive. If you fail to adapt and adjust, then unfortunately, a lot of these entities are going to be shut down.
Yes, and I think just tracking the situation, what I'm looking at is just at the macroeconomic level, where there is such a there's never been such a strong governmental intervention into a free market the way it's happening worldwide, and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Unprecedented stuff, right?
unprecedented, where the government can instruct which businesses must are essential and not leave it to the market to decide, and to
Yeah.
the point of even micromanaging what in a grocery store is essential and what isn't.
Yes.
And I mean, you can go into macro. I don't know if you've been to macro. You get there, you know, you can't
Yeah,
buy dishwashing machine or clothes
yeah,
washing.
that's right.
You
I mean, they've
know,
got entire aisles with like closed off that I mean you can't buy from them, right?
so we've never seen that. And so my
Yeah.
question for you is, it's a tough one, but it's an easy one.
Hit me.
What do you think in terms of the reopening of the economy? Are we as South Africa moving slowly? Should we open now, later, or what? What's your take based on?
Man, you're going straight for the jugular in this thing, man. You're going straight for the jugular. Check it out. This is my perspective, right? We have the best crisis, one of the best crisis management leaders in the world. Okay, in President Ramaphosa, without a doubt. If there's any hero that has emerged in this crisis, it's President Cupcake, aka the Cyril Bay. He's been fantastic. Okay, he's he's been decisive. He's taken action. He took action early. Uh, I
Yes.
for one, I for one, I for one was traveling just before the lockdown,
Well,
and when I landed at OR Tambo on a flight, got off the flight. All of a sudden, there was a dude with a thing taking my temperature, and everyone was covered up, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" Because at that time it was just a Wuhan thing. But I think our president did the right thing in retrospect, um, just to flatten the curve, the cliche that's been running. And listen, I think we've achieved that. We cannot compare our impact with what's happening in Europe and the United States. So listen, we've been blessed. We've been fortunate for decisive leadership that took action early and shut it down. That's my first part of answering your question. My second part of answering the question is, hey man, listen, I'm just starting to sense that there's a bit of an intoxication with power now.
yeah,
Okay, whereby the government is enjoying the level of control that they have over the economy, and they're really enjoying, the level of restrictions that have been put out there. So I'm really starting to feel like the decisiveness, the wit, and the speed of action that the government came into this is starting to fade. I'd like to see some of that coming back,
yes,
because I do believe more sectors of the economy can start to be opened up. I mean, I'll give you an example. So okay, we're now on stage 4, and they say, hey, okay, the restaurants can open. You can order food from a restaurant. Man, I'm fantastic, man. Man, I want to get my Nando's. I want to get my Andicho, man. I missed my pizza, right? Okay. But then they say, no, dude, you've got to get it delivered. Ah, now if you ask me, that doesn't make no sense, because you're putting another set of hands on my meal before it gets to me. Now, I mean, I'm not advocating for people going back to sit in a restaurant. But surely, if they just opened up drive-throughs or takeaways, that would be smarter than a situation whereby now I've got to wait for a delivery service that takes 3 hours to bring a meal. It's another. So you've got the people that prepared the food. There's another set of hands. The person that delivers the food. Is that increasing the risk, or is that reducing the risk?
yes.
Man, who am I? But anyway, I'm hoping that within the next couple of weeks, we'll start to slide down the ladder. But I'm also under no illusions that our way of work for 2020 in South Africa is not going back to anything that we could have considered normal in January, February 2020. I think there we all have to be realistic, and we need to prepare ourselves mentally that 2020 is going to be a year of a sluggish pace in everything we do. I was laughing with one of with one of our clients. We had a massive strategic planning session in Feb, and we were laughing and we said, "Hey guys, you know what I mean? That was just an almighty waste of time because everything that we did is out the window. The COVID effect has hit us, and we need to go back to the drawing board."
No, that's 100% correct in terms of we have to definitely applaud our leaders in our government for the initial response. It was swift, it was decisive. So on that stage, I think you're right. It's a two-part question. I think on part A, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I think in part B, seems to be significant challenges in terms of how and when to reopen the economy. Because my thinking in terms
Mm,
of flattening the curve, initially the way it was presented to us, is not eliminate the virus, but mitigate it. So
100%.
build capacity in terms of the healthcare system, so it's not overwhelmed by numbers, and that
Yeah.
would involve at least having two things in place: strong testing and treatment facilities being expanded. And once that's in place, let's get back to work. So right now we're just in the middle of we
Yeah.
are
It's an awkward place.
we're in a state of zero gravity where we don't know what's going to land where. We're just floating.
100%. 100%. We're in abeyance. We're in abeyance, and thankfully for us, in terms of our business model, we actually converted to online engagement 1 week before lockdown. But we're just lucky and blessed that that's our business model. Okay. um I mean, my barber can't do that. you know as as much as I miss being twirled in the barber chair, you know what I mean,
Yes.
and getting a fresh fade. My missus has had to hold me down, of late. You know what I'm saying? I think she's doing a good job, but it depends on the business model. And 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 fortunately, there are some business models that can actually move across to the digitization, to the new digital economy, because what COVID has done is COVID has picked us up in terms of time and thrown us like 10 years in the future in
Yeesh.
terms of digitization, right? So if a business can function digitally and they can function online, and we can live via video calls, and we can engage our staff, our clients, and our stakeholders via video call, then the business can survive. So that's why some businesses that have that type of business model have actually gone through the roof. They're actually doing better than they ever did. But unfortunately, that's the exception and not the rule. So 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 for 60, 70, 80% of the economy, they still require that engagement. They still require people to walk in. They still require someone to come and test drive the vehicle before they buy it. They still
Yes.
require someone to walk through the house before they buy it. They still need someone to put on the watch before they buy it. And for those type of businesses, we're going to have to be very, very, very creative,
Yo.
very creative to actually navigate this. Yeah.
I think, particularly for us in the business of gathering people, from
Uh-huh.
churches to restaurants to
Yeah.
concerts to expos. You know the expo culture in this country. You
Oh
know,
yeah. No, it's huge. It's huge.
we got this Comic Con and all this stuff that happens here.
Oh yeah.
Big
It's a massive
concert.
part of the economy. Mm.
The DJ guys. I can't imagine the piano guys. You know
No.
what they dealing with in terms of their business of gathering people
Yeah.
in this particular situation, you're at the
No, it's
back of
tricky. It's tricky.
you're at the back of the line. So I wanted to talk about your book, The 60 New Fundamentals of Sales Success.
Yeah.
Uh, and I've been seeing you all around the world. How was Nigeria?
Man, Nigeria is awesome, man. Shout out to all the Niger peeps out there. Such an expressive nation, such a beautiful people. And one thing about Nigerians is two things. Number one, in Nigeria, when you arrive there, you can be introduced to three people. You will never ever remember their names, right? Okay, their names are so hectic. Um, it's just on another level, right? But I had a lot of fun in Nigeria. I have deep roots there now. It's a market that, as a serious African and continental and global business person, I couldn't ignore. And hey, they actually gave me Nigerian names. So my Nig- so I've got two Nigerian names, yeah. So my first Nigerian name is Chuku Emeka, and my second Nigerian name is Olajide. So shout out to my Niger peeps who know what those names mean.
No, I love our Niger brothers. They've just got big scale of thinking and
Yeah.
doing, and a level of confidence, faith, and daring.
No, and
Um,
their identity, they are so strong in their identity. They know who they are, and I think that's why wherever Nigerians are across the world, they're successful. Because if you plant a Nigerian in China, he still is uniquely Nigerian, right? And everyone knows that this is a Nigerian brother or a Nigerian sister, and they're proud of who they are. So if there's anything I respect about Nigeria, it's their national pride.
no, they've got a very clear identity and a very clear entrepreneurial impulse that cannot
Oh
be
yeah.
ignored. So I wanted just to find out about featherweight listening from your book.
Yeah.
Concept of
Cool.
featherweight
Cool.
listening. What is that?
Yeah. Well, as you know, I'm everything I do is business growth. Everything I do is business growth. And and I think that's one of the reasons why we've managed to weather the COVID storm. And we're being pulled in multiple directions. We've been pulled in global directions because, especially with the impact of COVID and the slowdown, everyone is looking for ways to rebuild and grow their businesses. So when you talk about featherweight listing, it's a sales concept, that it's one of the sales concept that I came up with many years ago, and it's based on this premise that everyone thinks that in order for you to be on the front lines of business growth, i.e., a marketing person or a salesperson, you have to be an extrovert, right? You have to be the most verbose person in the room, you know to steal your word, you have to be grandiloquent.
Yes.
uh, uh, um, shout out Pastor Israel Piri. um, 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 I'm learning from you. But 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 the key is this, is that introverts, right, can can also be on the front line of business growth, and introverts can also sell. Introverts can also build amazing businesses, because the key to selling is not talking, the key is listening. In fact, in any direct engagement between a company and a prospect, the most important thing is not to speak. The most important thing is to listen. So when we talk about featherweight listening, if
Yes.
you can hear a feather drop to the ground, right, then you're listening right. If 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 there's anything that's that'll train a person in featherweight listing. It's this thing called marriage, because marriage can teach you how to listen. I had to learn this a couple of years deep. And I'm still deep in that PhD. That you gotta learn to listen. You gotta learn to listen, because it's it's actually not more about what you say. It's about what they say, how you internalize that, and how you can create empathy between you and your prospect, between you and your market. And if you're not listening, then you can't do that.
Not true.
Mm.
So, I want to close with just a quick game. It's just
Yeah.
called top threes. Out
I
of top threes. Okay,
Okay.
what are your top three sales minds in the earth today that you follow? Who are like your top three sales and marketing, whether it's gurus or thinkers or thought leaders in the earth today?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. First of all, I'm going to say this as a disclaimer: is that 90% of the sales gurus out there are garbage. Um, hey, and if anyone disagrees, email me. We'll thrash it out, because this whole hardcore closer aggressive stuff, it's outdated. It's actually so 90s. It's so Windows XP, or Windows 95 model. People don't want that. All people want to deal with genuine human beings that are down to earth, that understand their problems, and if they have a solution, they give them a solution, right? So 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 over the years, I've been pushing myself away from from a lot of the so-called gurus out there,
Okay.
because I would spend big bucks. I would buy their courses, I would do their stuff, but then I would battle test that stuff. I'll battle test that stuff, and my goodness, the stuff just wouldn't work, or it would just frustrate the people that are out there. Okay, so I really, 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 really choose my sales gurus very carefully. So if I was gonna drop a name, I was gonna say, there's a dude by the name of Russell Rufino. I
Okay.
would say I would say he's number one. Okay, I'm probably gonna name people that most people haven't even heard of. Okay, because the frontline, aggressive, pushy, go for the close, garbage guys, that stuff just doesn't work, right? So I'll probably say Russell Rufino's out there. Number two, I would say, is Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson. Okay,
Okay.
so the two Russells. Um, and number three, I would say it's my boy from Nigeria, Bunmi Jemola. He's the CEO of Sales Ruby. Shout out my Sales Ruby team up in Niger.
Put me what?
Bunmi Jembola.
Ebola.
Yeah, man. That's my Oga right there. And the reason why I sincerely believe that these guys are the global standard.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are like these guys are like Michael Jackson when he was still in Jackson 5. You
Uh-huh.
understand? It's because their tactics, their strategy, their approaches are based on sincerity, they're based on integrity, and they're based on what I call pure selling. Pure selling. And pure selling is basically being sincere, being down to earth, genuinely giving a damn, you know. On my next book, Career Entrepreneur, Shameless Punt. Uh, I you know I've got an entire chapter on giving a damn. The average business growth professional, sales, marketing people don't give a damn about their prospects. That's the biggest problem. If you don't give a damn, you can have no empathy. If you don't give a damn, you cannot sincerely engage another human being. If you don't give a damn and you're only thinking about making money, if you only think about making commission, which is called commission breath, every time you speak, you're just spewing commission breath. people can tell. You know, people are so advanced. It's 2020, man. We we've all dealt with human beings, whether we've purchased a house, whether we've purchased a vehicle, whether we've purchased a watch, whether we've purchased clothes, right? And when you engaging someone on the front line, it doesn't take you 20 seconds to find out if this guy gives a damn, or is this guy just trying to move product?
Yes.
Is this guy just trying to move stock, right?
Just trying to
And
make money.
that's right. And you know what? In this day and age, it's repulsive, man. It's not attractive. The best way for human beings to really connect with other people is through empathy. It's to genuinely care about the people that they are serving, genuinely find out what their hopes, their needs, their dreams are. And if their product can satisfy those ambitions, then you go for the kill and you sell hard. If your product cannot, you should have enough integrity to say, listen, this is actually not for you, but I can refer you to someone who can help you.
Oh, that's power. Now, I was just checking out Sales Ruby with
Yeah.
Boon Bola.
He's a legend.
No, I'm saying, no, it's solid. It's solid. It's
No, follow that dude on the interwebs. He's my boy. Those are my Niger peeps. Those guys treat me like royalty when I'm up there. I love them so much, and they practice what they preach. Which is not what I can say about a lot of the gurus out there.
Oh man, no, I like it. I'm really gonna follow him and see what he's about. And then your top three companies in the world that you look up to, top three brands that you look up
Um,
to whatever whatever industry.
Nice. Yeah. Listen, man, I've got so many. I've got so many. World Remit is definitely up there. As an entrepreneur, as a business growth professional, I respect what they've done, and I respect what they're doing. And I've read up on the journey of the founder. The founder is actually an African from West Africa, from Somaliland, that left there during the genocide, just as the civil war was exploding. He was literally smuggled out of Somaliland, right? Ishmael Ahmed, and he got a scholarship to do a PhD in economics at London Business School. This is around 2006. He left the Horn of Africa, went to London, started studying and working, and realized that sending money back home was an absolute nightmare. So in the job that he was working in Kent, he was picking strawberries in Kent while he was doing his studies. And it took him an hour and a half to get to the place where he would send money back to Somaliland to his family. And it took his family another 2 hours to get from their village to go to a town where they could redeem the funds.
Okay.
So he's the founder of World Remit.
Is it like a
They've I beg your pardon? What's
it's
that?
like Omukuru.
No, it is 100%, 100%. It's like a Western Union. It's like um, international money gateway, and what they're doing is absolutely fantastic. Um, he built that business pretty much from scratch, small team. Those guys are now doing about 400 million pounds per annum. They've got a team of about 600 staff in London. They've got teams in developing countries, and they're giving back a hell of a lot. I really, really, really respect that business. I like what they're doing, and I've got a lot of respect. Um, that's number one. Number two, hey, man, listen. I was just refreshing a case study on this business. I really respect the Econet empire, the biggest taxpayer in a country called Zimbabwe, where the tax officials actually needed to create a tax office in the head office of Econet to process to process the tax of that business. What I like about that specific business is it's a lesson in tenacity. It's a lesson in determination. If you read back into the history of what Strive Masiwa went through between 1990 and 1998, when Econet was finally licensed, and the court battles, the in and out of court, the abductions, the beatings, and how the government of the day tried to strangle that business. I mean, it's a fantastic case study.
Remember him. I used to be at celebration, and I
Yeah,
remember Tom calling him for prayer. And he had
yeah.
this like brown jacket. I'll never forget it. It was the dust I've ever seen in my life. And he's talking about cell phones, and in my mind, I'm like, hey, can any good thing come out of that jacket? Well, billions did.
100%. 100%. And I mean, look at the dude, look at the dude now. I mean that business is in 17 countries. He's replicated the model. I mean, the brother's unstoppable, right? Okay. What a story. But if he had given up back then, between 92, 93, 94, when the government literally was choking him personally and physically and his businesses to the point of bankruptcy. There's very few entrepreneurs that would have stuck through that, and he did. I tip my hat to that. And I think the third business that I've got a tremendous amount of respect for is USN, the the proudly South African supplement business that was started in the corner of Pretoria there by a dude that was just a health junkie that was working at the gym, that started buying creatine and mixing up formulas in his apartment with his girlfriend, and then starting to sell little packs of supplements and bodybuilding creatine and stuff to the guys that would be in the gym. um, what a business! A lot of people think that USN is an American brand. It's not. That's a proudly South African business. Those guys are now in 15 countries. Those guys are doing. Those guys. Those guys are now doing hundreds of millions of dollars, United States in revenue. Those guys are taking up serious market share in global markets from an apartment in Pretoria. So yeah, if I mean, I could go for days, but 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 if you're going to ask me my top three that are sort of top of mind right now, right here, hey, I like those businesses because I think the story of how those businesses were built is relatable. Um, uh, I honestly can't really. I struggle to relate with. I've got respect for Jack Welch, okay, and you can't do an MBA today without studying Jack Welch.
Yes.
But you know what? When Jack Welch went into General Electric, they were already on $14 billion.
Yes.
Sure, he got them to $300 billion, and that was fantastic. But dude, give me a 14 billion rand business. I think I can also do some wonders. If the businesses that really touch my heart are the guys that started from scratch, from zero, and they just had to be entrepreneurial. They just had to create a vision. They had to see something that wasn't there, and they created stuff from scratch. So those are the type of businesses that I study. Those are the type of companies that excite me.
That's fantastic. No, I love you. I'm gonna definitely look at USN. All this time I thought they were. I don't know why I thought they were an American company. I
So,
hadn't.
but no, no, no. It was strategic, man. What's that?
Thought them, but they seem to have like an American sticker on it. Are
Nah, man, it's all so strategic. Let me tell you, he sold his Bucky. His dad took out an extra bond on their house to fund that business. They built that business out of a little flat in Pretoria. Now they're doing hundreds of millions of pounds.
they?
Fantastic, fantastic business, fantastic story, and yeah,
No,
they're doing great.
we
Those
received
are the
that.
stories that keep me motivated.
We
Yeah.
received anointing when they use.
Amen.
Um, But don't now call your company USB because you're copying.
Listen, listen. If the .com's available, just buy it. Just buy it. You never know. You never know.
you know. And then I want to close with your top three movies over the past year from 20. We haven't watched anything this year, but from last year, what are like your top three movies or top three series?
Man, man, I am I'm such an outlier, dude. I'm so selective of the stuff that I watch, But what immediately pops into my head was a series called Mindhunter on
Okay.
Netflix. You definitely won't see it on the favorites and the trending now. But
Oh,
Mindhunter was brilliant. Eh?
is it old on you? There was one about serial killers back in the day. Is it that one?
That's the one. That's the one. That's the one. You see, these guys were actually the foundations of behavioral science, and how the guys solve crimes today. But they sort of break down how these guys did it, and how they went against the conventional wisdom. That type of stuff excites me, dude.
No. Okay.
Um, that type of stuff excites me. I'm obviously hooked. I'm obviously hooked on The Last Dance, like everybody is. You know, the reason is I think it's just such a case study in where talent meets hunger, determination, that drive, that perseverance that MJ displayed. And there's so many lessons there that
Did you,
geeking out fans like us, we didn't know some of the stuff that was happening, right?
yes. Did you watch last night?
I duh, I was in there. I was in there. I was in there.
Some of my takeaways, okay,
Hmm.
overall, on the business side,
Yeah.
I don't feel sorry for Scottie Pippen. If you sign a bad contract, you sign a bad contract. You need to be smart. You need to be smart
Yeah.
about it. And then
100%.
there's nothing you can do. You gotta be smart with your talent. And then just his
Agreed.
dedication to excellence. Like
Oh my goodness.
where he ended up crying last night. That's
Yeah.
how if you don't want to play this way, don't. Man,
Yeah, I mean, his personality was and is fiery red, right? He'll do
yes,
whatever it takes to win.
yes.
Now, some of the stuff. No, Andre, I don't have any Marvel in that top three. Sorry, bro. I see you, Dre. Um, but 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 it's an important case study in hunger, in
Hey,
drive, in determination, because the man's hunger was infectious, man. You could not be on his team.
and just
And
killer instinct and fearlessness. Like how he
no,
loved
that's
his competition. The
I know, 100%. No, no, no. You see, it's
confidence.
called
Yo,
it's called emotional contagion, right? I was actually studying this, especially at the beginning of COVID, and because a lot of our clients, the MDs and the leaders of those companies and those businesses were like, they were depressed, and on the WhatsApp group, they were posting droopy messages and stuff.
share my
And I had to call some guys on the side and say, bro, listen, as the leader of the business, you can't put your head in the sand. This emotional contagion is real. The emotions that you have are going to affect your team. So if you slow, if you sluggish, if you depressed as a head of the business, then your team members are going to model that behavior. But if you come in hungry, you come in with, proactive mindset. If you still are trying to get things done, if you waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning to have video calls with your team to make sure that everyone is out of bed, and we're doing this, and we're still making progress, and we're still tracking the metrics, then you're gonna establish, the standard in your business. So Michael Jordan is also another case study of emotional contagion because he was so influential on all the guys around him, dude. It's like when he was on the court, the standard of the entire team went up. So, in my life, in my business, I want that too. I want a situation whereby every single business, every single client that I'm dealing with, just by the show, uh, just by my presence in their business, in their strategy, in their plan, the standard just goes up,
I mean,
and people must know.
everybody in the NBA today owes Michael Jordan tithes.
Straight up.
KD to Kyrie to Steph,
Yeah.
because nobody had a signature shoe before him. The Spurs
100%.
were not that good the
100%.
on that level. We didn't care about basketball until Jordan.
Nah,
He
nah.
could introduce basketball to the nation.
Yeah.
Jordan introduced it to the world and to the corporate world as well.
Oh yeah.
So everybody owes him. And where you see his legacy the most is still today. Every year, he outsells every basketball sneaker twice over. The Jordan
100%.
outsell LeBron,
No.
Kyrie, KD, Steph. Jordan by himself outsells Under Armour as a company.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Snap.
so I think
Ouch.
his lasting legacy is definitely going to be the Jordan
It's the
brand.
brand. The
The Jordan
brand.
is going to
No,
be,
without a doubt.
and so
Without a doubt.
your final movie, at least the
Um,
movie, TV shows. You didn't watch any movies last year?
yeah, I watched a couple of movies, man, but nothing really current. I enjoyed The Big Short.
Okay.
I may be a bit socially awkward like that. I enjoyed those type of movies. I may be a one trick pony. My wife is like, "You're always watching this business stuff. You're always watching this business stuff."
So
It's
you
the only
enjoy.
thing that excites me. It's the only thing that excites me. But I want to make this one final comment on just so many lessons from the Last Dances. Is he was a barrier breaker, man, and every single industry, every family, every generation, we all have those barrier breakers that make us believe.
Mhm.
In golf, Tiger Woods changed the game of golf. He changed the earnings. The average pro golfer is a millionaire because of Tiger Woods. They were not doing multi-million-dollar contracts before Tiger Woods. Casper Nyovest, he took what rappers could earn in South Africa to a whole other level. Okay, all right. Rappers were not filling up anything. They couldn't fill up a restaurant, let alone the Dome and
Mhm.
Orlando Stadium and King Shaka. But but you've got those barrier breakers that really sort of break through. They're like a banister type of human being, and everybody else sort of rides on that waves and 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 believes it, thereafter. So yeah, so many lessons, man.
No, absolutely fantastic. Dr. Winston, thank you so much for your time, man. Uh,
Hey, it's love, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
no, we're definitely going to get you in. I think, especially when the soccer season starts, would like to have you when Liverpool lift. We want to have your comment.
No, 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 no. Listen, that's not happening. That's not happening. Okay. To all you Liverpool people, you are the reason COVID happened. It's the universe telling us that they must never touch that trophy.
You'll never win.
uh, I'm gonna see flames on the inbox for that one.
But thank you so much, man. We really appreciate you.
Bless you,
Uh,
bro.
have a blessed afternoon.
Take it easy, man. All the best. Thanks for having me. Let's stay focused. It's all about the mindset right now, guys. Who's gonna make it through this? It's the mindset. You've got two options: expansion mindset or contraction mindset. That's it. That's it.
Amen.
You choose.
Amen.